everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Six Studios. And today marks episode 3, the final episode in the Mortal Kombat build trilogy. And we are going to be making a Mortal Kombat themed hubcap, specifically based off the Mortal Kombat Dragon logo, as seen right here. Now I'm sure you're wondering, what hubcap could you possibly be talking about? This one right here. You'll be seeing a lot on this channel, me doing custom hubcap builds, and I would like to state right here and now that I have never stolen a single hubcap. I have found them all on the side of the road. I have never stolen a single one. Except maybe from that one guy. But he had it coming. I'm just kidding. What's up, Kenny? So the first step in this build is cleaning the back. This is pretty disgusting. Yeah, the downside with finding these on the side of the road is that they are quite filthy. So we'll just be going in there with some disinfectant wipes, just kind of cleaning everything up. Then we're going to be taking a Dremel and just grinding away all the parts that we don't need, specifically some of these tabs. However, we are going to be leaving just enough room to drill 2 holes in there to hook some baling wire on so that it could be hooked onto the wall. Then after that, we're going to pop the logo off. We're going to put some Bondo in here, sand down the rest of it, probably with an orbital, and then go from there. Then after that, we're going to actually be making the Dragon logo out of foam, which is going to be glued onto there. But before that, we're actually going to be spray painting and doing a little bit of abstract work to make it look like flames and fire. It's going to be a little bit of trial and error, but I think it's going to actually look pretty cool. So yeah, it's going to be a fair amount of work, but I am super excited for this because I've been wanting to do this for quite some time. Unfortunately, other projects kind of get in the way sometimes, be that as it may, but we're here now. So yeah, that's just about everything. What do you think, Joe?
Sounds good to me! Final round! Fight!
Let's get to work. Now, the condition in which hubcaps are found is generally anywhere between absolutely perfect and a little mangled. This one is actually not too bad. It's just a little dirty, but first step is removing this piece because this is not needed. Then we take just some basic disinfectant wipes, and this actually picks it up. All of that dirt. Oh yeah, look at that. Alright, so I got most of this cleaned up. I actually had to go in with some WD-40 to help break it up even more, but it got the job done. I'm going to be taking the cutoff wheel on my Dremel, and what we're going to be doing is going in and grinding these tabs off, because those aren't really needed, except for the one at the very top there, because that's where we're going to drill some holes, and then we're going to run a baling wire to make a small loop. That's what's going to be used to hang it on the wall with. And normally I like to keep this on the bottom. This isn't on every single one of them, but if it is, that's a good indicator of where I want it to sit. So grind it down, give it another wash, and then we can move on to the front. So now that we took the sanding bit and grinded that down, we're going to repeat the process on the rest of them. Doesn't have to be perfectly looking, it's going to be on the back anyway, so no one's going to really see it. Okay, so now that we did everything we needed to on the back and we got it all cleaned up, it is significantly cleaner than it was. So now we focus on the front. Now I'm not going to worry about cleaning up the front because we're going to be sanding off the majority of this anyway. But for right now, we're going to take our handy dandy screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, go in and just stand by. Got it. Mess with me, why don't you? Not gonna lie, that was way tougher to get off of this hubcap than I thought it would be. Touche, Nissan. Touche. The next step in this build is taking Bondo all-purpose putty, and we're going to be filling in where that emblem was and the ring around here, and then taking an orbital sander and sanding the whole thing so that it's completely smooth, give us a better working surface for eventually gluing down the dragon logo. And we're also going to be taking bits of sandpaper and just scraping away any amount of silver paint. So before we start using the Bondo, I just want to say that this stuff is pretty toxic. It does smell pretty bad and should be used in a well-ventilated area and with a mask. In the back here. Warning, cancer.
You've come back to die with your city. I was wondering what would break first. Your spirit or your body?
I cosplayed as Bane 10 years ago. Let's get to work. So how Bondo works, it sounds more complicated than it actually is. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna just take a spoon and we're gonna scoop out that putty. And what we're gonna do is put it onto a little piece of wood or a piece of paper, whatever you have. And then we're gonna take a hardening cream. It comes in a variety of different colors. I like to use red because you could see it mix better, because then it turns pink. And you're going to just mix that up with a popsicle stick. And once you have it mixed up, you don't even need that much. We're then going to take this. Bondo actually sells these. And then we're just going to take whatever we need and then smear it on the areas that we want to build up. And then from there, after it hardens a little bit, we're going to take the orbital sander and just go to town trying to sand it and smooth it down to try to fill in that seam and the center logo. And then when we're finished, it should have a nice smooth surface. Now, you're not going to have a lot of time to work on this, maybe a little less than a minute, but it all depends on how much hardening cream you put in. Also, we will be repeating the same process in future hubcaps if it needs it. I just wanted to show you on this first one, because it's the first one, and just so you have a better idea of how we're going to be doing things. Now, I had to go back in a second time just to fill in some holidays that I sanded down too far, or maybe some imperfections, and I actually used the white cream hardener this time, and it kind of made it look grayer than it already is. I mean, it's gray putty, but regardless, when we go back in and continue sanding, not only are we going to do this whole middle section, but also going to continue doing around the edges like that. We're just going to take a cut off from one of the pieces of sandpaper and just go in by hand and just do all the inner workings of it, just because the orbital can't get in there. Okay, so now that this is all sanded down, what we're going to do first is actually drill 2 holes right there just so we can hook a wire through it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to first hit it with a gray primer just to seal it up, get it ready for the rest of the paint. And then we're going to hit the entire thing with a flat black. Now, the reason why we're using flat black is because we want the base color of it to just be a little bit darker. Then after the flat black, we're going to try to stick to the warmer colors of the spectrum here, and also paying homage to the very first Mortal Kombat logo. Alright, so first we're going to hit it with some gray primer. Alright, so we're going to let this sit and dry for at least 20 minutes until it properly cures. If not, overnight. All right, so now that this is fully cured, we're gonna do our base coat of flat black, followed by our first coat of golden sunset yellow. So now that we got the first coat of yellow down, it didn't cover 100% of the hubcap, but that's perfectly okay. That's actually what I wanted. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna take a white, black, orange, and red. Despite having given it a coat of black first, we're gonna do the outer rim black, and then we're gonna mist white in the middle ever so slightly, and then we're gonna take the orange and then red and just sort of ombre it going out, so light to dark. Because when the logo is glued down, the background is going to be subtle at best, so it's not 100% necessary, but we're just going to try something out. It's going to be a little trial and error, but hey, hopefully it turns out pretty cool. So this turned out way cooler than I thought it would. The way everything blends, it just, to me, it totally works for Mortal Kombat. I really didn't expect it to look this good. And it changes within the light, which I didn't really anticipate that happening. And the way it blends together in some spots, very, very satisfied with this. I'm totally digging it. Now on to the next step, which is the dragon. Okay, so now onto the logo. And the one that I wanted to use was from Mortal Kombat 9. I really loved the metallic scale look of this one as opposed to just a silhouette. I think it just pops a little bit more, makes it look a lot more badass. So what I did was scale it out on the computer and then printed it out and then glued it down to this poster board just to give it a little bit more stability. And then I numbered it all. 1, 2, 3, and to the 4. 6 studios of Mortal Kombat at the door. That's about the height of my hip hop career, folks. I'll see myself out. So I numbered them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 separate sections. And what we're going to do is cut them all out individually and then transfer that onto foam. So if we do this, ready? 1, 2, 3. So the next step is actually going to be going in and cutting out each individual panel here and then transferring it onto this 12mm craft foam, which I have in a roll here. This is the thicker kind, and then grinding it away with the Dremel, really giving a depth of feel to it. This may or may not make a lot of sense right now, but trust me, it'll make sense when it's all finished.
You describe my home as if you had seen it firsthand.
Ow! Never let it be said that I didn't give my blood for this. Ow! Okay, so that was the most time-consuming part of this entire build, but we are here now, and I am really liking how this is looking. That's all out of that thicker foam. I decided to go with the thicker foam instead of the other one in addition to it, just because when I saw the layers built up, it was a little too much. I figured this foam was probably better for it. That way we can shade down areas and it'll still have enough, but other than that, it just would have looked way too big. Now, as you can see here, this does look like beveled edges. So what we're going to do is take the Dremel and then start shaving away probably most of it. Most of this is going to end up getting shaved away, but the idea is to turn that into that to go on that. I am really enjoying doing this one. Now the tricky part is going to be when I'm shaving this down to make sure that they line up perfectly. But I think we're going to be okay with it. We're just going to go slow. Now it seems like a ton of work doing each one individually, but in the long run this is going to make things so much easier, especially when we glue it down to the hubcap. It's kind of a backwards ass way of doing things, but you know what? Sometimes that works. Now obviously we're going to be putting a foam ring around the outside too, which this one is being brilliantly displayed by Oscar. How you doing? And we're going to get to that later. So the next step, shaving this down. Let's get to work. Alright, so that's pretty much what I'm going for. The beveled edges on both sides. Now we just have to repeat this process with the rest of that. Okay, so while we're not done yet, this is looking pretty cool so far. I gotta say, I really dig it. And the beveled edges really make the details pop that much more. Really gives it some definition. Now for the head, we're going to repeat the same process of doing this as the body, except we're going to be going in with the wood burner just to get those little details right there and glue down the raised pieces here.
Finish him, Mortal Kombat.
And we're going to be going in with the heat gun to each individual piece, and all these little fuzzies should just burn right off, as well as seal it up. And additionally to that being sealed up, we're going to hit each individual piece with Plasti-Dub. Okay, real quick, what I did was I traced out all of the pieces onto this poster board here, and we're going to secure it onto the back using thumbtacks going there into the foam. The reason being why we're doing this is to prep for the Plasti-Dub portion to seal that up. All of the little pieces might end up just getting blown away from the pressure from the can, and we don't want that. So this is not a necessary step, but it's one that I took. So we're just going to go in with a black acrylic paint and just give it one light coat over the entire thing. And then after that, we're going to dry brush a little bit of silver, a little bit of gold, try to blend the colors together and just make it look like a metal dragon. Just a badass metal dragon. Here we go. And we're going to dry brush the silver and gold onto it, but in the direction in which the dragon is turning and twisting. Just have it look a lot more natural. So instead of the gold, we're actually going to try a bronze. I happen to think this might work a little bit better, but if we need to go back in with some gold, could always do that too. Alrighty, so now that we dry brushed the silver and the bronze on the dragon and the rim, the hubcap is done. There's only one thing left to do. Joe, what do you think?
Finish him!
You heard the man. Cut and print, that's a wrap on the Mortal Kombat themed hubcap. This is a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. But man, did I have a blast making it. I really did. I think this looks so cool. The foam idea worked out so much better than I thought it would. It gives it so much more dimension and depth. And I really enjoyed it. I don't know. I love Mortal Kombat. So yeah, spit an image. So now that this build is over, what I want to know is, who is your favorite Mortal Kombat character? Personally, my favorite character is Johnny Cage. And I'm sure that statement comes as a shock to absolutely no one. But what can I say? I do love myself some sunglasses. And this would work a lot better if I had sunglasses. Not to mention, I'm very excited to see Karl Urban play him in the new movie. It was an interesting casting choice, but that dude is an absolute beast. He's gonna kill it. Close second, though, is Scorpion. Just throwing that out there. Also, quick side note. We are a new channel, and if you've been sticking with us for the videos that we have been posting, first off, I want to say thank you so much. Like, really, truly, on behalf of myself and the team, thank you. We work very hard to get these things done, and up until now, we've had the benefit of having filmed everything and had these videos done for a little while at this point. I don't know if that's the way you're supposed to do it when starting out a channel. I don't know, it just seemed to make sense to us. But going forward, shooting new material and new videos, we don't just want to put stuff out for the sake of putting it out. We actually want to give you the best video we possibly can. Sometimes it takes a little bit of work. We all work full-time jobs. We all have lives. We all have our own stuff going on. Sometimes it's not that easy to get together and get this stuff done. Not to mention some of the builds coming up will take a little bit of time to do. But the show must go on. And like I said, we just want to give you the best possible video we possibly can. Because we want to entertain you. But going forward, we would definitely appreciate your patience. Anyway, so if you like this video and want to check out more, you can find my Facebook page over here, my Instagram page over here. And until next time, stay weird and stay tuned.
Finish him!
Your soul is mine. You will be next.